And remarkably, I would say I have almost eliminated all negative behaviors in my life.
Oh, wow.
I just don't have vices.
Is that what you want for yourself? Complete absence of vice?
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Do you admire him?
The guy who drinks his child's blood? Well, he doesn't drink it. He transfuses it. I know.
It. He also, to be fair, he gives his father some of his blood. So it's like a human centipede of blood transfusions from grandson to him to father.
Why doesn't he give his father his son's blood?
I think because it's more poetic like this.
But I'm just saying, if he wants his father to have maximum benefit, he should be transfusing the youngest possible blood.
Yeah, well, he should be getting his son to have a baby as soon as possible and taking that baby's blood.
Maybe he should do a bone marrow transplant. It's not the blood. I understand that. It's circulating hormones. But it would be really fucked up if he did that.
I mean, he is...
I'm just thinking of more fucked up things he could be doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're of course talking today about Bryan Johnson, hero to us all, vampire, measurer of a remarkable number of penile metrics. This is nutty business.
I mean, there are seeds involved also.
Some seeds involved, but this is what the podcast is now. It's what it always has been and what it always will be.
So Bryan Johnson is that guy who looks really weird. He kind of looks like the, what was that movie in like the early 2000s? The Minority Report, where there's that person who like lives in a pool of goo or whatever. He looks like that. And his whole thing is that he claims to be reverse aging.
Yeah.
And he claims that his health and body is that of like a 20-year-old when he's 40.
He is currently, as of this recording, 46 years old. He is a billionaire because he founded Braintree, which I think became PayPal. He's got that PayPal money. He's like really...
So he and Peter Thiel both love the idea
of drinking blood. Yeah.
Being infused
clearly,
with the blood of the young.
This has never been said outright, but that's clear. Like they've had discussions about
obviously.
Like, that is like one of their bonding topics, I would think. But the reason why we thought this is tangentially related to the podcast is because Bryan Johnson has a series of meals that he eats rigidly. Every aspect of this man's life is rigid. His meals that he eats, his specific sleep times and durations, all of his exercise. He's a billionaire, so he just spends all day, every day with a team of charlatan doctors who make him do things and then measure him, basically. But one of his meals, one of his daily meals, he finishes eating at like, I should look this up, but like sometime around
3 p.m.
I think
or
like midday, early afternoon is his last meal. But one of his meals is called Nutty pudding.
This guy lives your dream life. This is what you want. You want to live the most rigid, structured life possible.
I would actually argue that my health anxiety has, gone down significantly, in the last months to years. And I think the decline in my health anxiety might correlate to when I first started reading about this guy. So maybe his absurdity has made me rethink some of my own anxieties or practices, possibly.
Would you consider slightly modifying your exercise schedule in order to have more fun?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So the nutty pudding is in our bodies now. You prepared it for us this morning. I went to the grocery store first thing to get the stuff that we didn't have, and it was expensive. And
I'm curious to know how much the nutty pudding ingredients cost.
I don't know. I want to say like $50 or something. It was from Whole Foods, but now
they don't have bulk bins anymore. Like we needed 1 tablespoon of this or that. And back in the day when they had bulk bins, you could have just
Now we have infinity chia seeds.
which is the worst part of nutty pudding.
Well,
not to spoil it.
Let me give you the ingredients that are in nutty pudding. And again, this is part of the reverse aging protocol. He's detailed his protocol on the website that you can follow along with him. You can take all the supplements he takes. You can eat the special meals that he eats. And one of his main meals is nutty pudding. It is 50 to 100 milliliters macadamia nut milk, 3 tablespoons ground macadamia nuts, 2 teaspoons of ground walnuts, 2 tablespoons chia seeds, 1 teaspoon of ground flaxseed, quarter Brazil nut, we'll come back to that in a moment, 6 grams of cocoa, 1 teaspoon sunflower lecithin. Maybe I should leave that in because my body's clearly responding to the nutty pudding that I just ate. 1 teaspoon sunflower lecithin, 1/2 teaspoon Ceylon cinnamon, 1/2 cup blueberries or raspberries or strawberries, 3 cherries, and 2 ounces pomegranate juice. Basically, you blend all this shit up and eat it as a pudding. You can also add pea protein if you're inclined, and a tablespoon of a sweetener. But
so it is lecithin.
Lecithin? Okay.
Yeah.
1 tablespoon of sweetener. You can either add trehalose.
Trehalose, yeah.
Or honey. We chose honey. I don't know what the former is. You do, I think. So what was your experience with nutty pudding? What was your experience making it?
Well, it's a nasty glop that is hard to blend even with a good immersion blender. And so if you don't have a Vitamix, I can't really recommend making it as written routinely because I think it will quickly burn out your blender motor because of the large amount of chia seeds that turn into a nasty goo.
Yeah, you really resent these chia seeds. I will say that the one substitution we had to make is that
chia seeds are I've never had a non-rancid chia seed. Every chia seed in this entire country is rancid by the time it gets here because of their extreme, right? Like it's that fatty acid profile that people want them for, but it means they go bad quickly, and Americans apparently can't taste when things are rancid most of the time. We just don't notice. That's how they sell all that bad olive oil to us or whatever. Yeah, they have a bad texture and a bad taste.
The one substitution we made was I couldn't find Brazil nuts, and this recipe called for 1/4 of a Brazil nut, which I have inferred is exclusively for its selenium content. So instead, I had a supplemental selenium tablet that we crushed up and put into it.
Yeah, I put 1 selenium tablet in the mix.
So I feel like that was in the spirit of the exercise. Dear listener, I loved this pudding.
First of all, calling it a pudding is insulting to puddings.
Well, I disagree. That what it reminded me of
glop
is the sort of texture of a pudding that you get at a buffet specifically, like a terrible like hometown country buffet pudding.
Like where it has nasty skin on it?
No, that would imply a pudding that was at least made in the way that you would usually make a pudding. The sort of
You're talking about Jell-O instant pudding?
No, not Jell-O instant pudding either. I've never experienced the texture of the type of pudding I'm talking about, except for in a low quality buffet. But it's like it's gloppy and sort of aerated, but not so much that it's mousse.
I'm not sure I know what you're talking about, but there's a dish so then the video game Don't Starve.
Yeah.
You cook things.
Sure.
You put various ingredients in a pot and you cook them and then it makes something. So you might put some fish in there and get fish stew. But if you put in an invalid set of ingredients, it makes a product called wet gloop. And
Any
I believe
invalid set of ingredients turns into wet gloop.
Yeah. Turns into wet gloop. And I believe that is what this resembles. I would say wet gloop is a good name for it more so than pudding.
I mean, classically, all of the ingredients in this, besides, in your mind, the chia seeds, taste good. It's just a bunch of blended up nuts and fruits. Like, of course, that's going to taste good. It's really just the chia seed aspect that you oppose.
Yeah. I mean, okay, I like a smoothie. I often have them for breakfast or whatever. But it's actually a really tiny amount of liquid that goes into this, particularly given the amount of liquid that chia seeds are capable of absorbing and turning into a nasty, stringy gloop. So it's thick. Like, I guess it wants to be sort of like an acai bowl. But I don't think that... I think if it were just the fruit and nuts and like juice and nut milk, it would probably be fine. It's an awful lot of cinnamon to add to something like this. I mean, I guess he says he adds protein powder to it. I can't imagine possibly making the blender work with the addition of protein powder on top of it. It's just a lot of dry powders to go into the amount of liquid that it actually calls for.
Sure. I mean, I couldn't taste a lot of these ingredients. Mostly what this tasted like to me was sort of a gloppy berry pudding. And that's pretty good, all things considered. Do you feel powerful having eaten it?
It tastes bitter. Like, I don't know how it is that these blueberries have been made to taste bitter, but I assume it's the supplements and cinnamon that are to blame.
I did not experience it as bitter. I thought it was sweet and nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, you think that this tastes good in the same way that, say I took just the frozen blueberries and the macadamia nut milk and blended them up. That would be delicious.
It would be delicious, but what I'm
you
saying
think this is equally delicious?
I actively like the texture of this.
Yeah, you like bad textures.
I guess that's true. But my next question to you is, does it make your body feel great? Do you feel powerful from having eaten it? Do you feel like you've reverse aged at all?
I don't know how I would know.
I feel great.
Are you going to start eating this routinely?
Yes. It would bankrupt us, I think, to eat it routinely, but...
Well, you should eat it routinely until we're out of those
the ingredients.
chia seeds.
Yeah. So something that we did in the spirit of this exercise was to... Actually, let's go to Bryan Johnson's website first, and let's take a quick read through some of his accomplishments. He's been doing this protocol, which he's adapted over time as new quote unquote research emerges. He tries things. If they don't work for him, he stops and adds new elements to his protocol. But he has a results section on his website that I think is worth reading through. So he's been doing it for 3 years. He's in the top 1% of the following metrics. Speed of aging. That already doesn't, it's hard to know what he means by that, but muscle mass and function, fat mass, inflammation, VO2 max, bone mass.
Wait, hold on. This guy's skinny. There's no way he's in the top 1% of muscle mass. He's muscle mass and function. He's eliding into a single category so that he can claim his muscles are better than like a big person who also has body fat.
He has very low body fat, but he has a significant amount of muscles.
I'm not saying he's not ripped, but there's no way he's not big. He's not doing bodybuilding. Like the kind of weight training he's doing is not giving him large muscles. I mean, I'm just saying that a person who is simply physically larger than him, who is not shredded, has more muscle mass than this guy. So it's weird for him to claim that he's in the top 1% of muscle mass unless he's also in the top 1% of human size.
In this latter section,
and I'm just confused about how big he is.
Top 99.5% muscle volume.
Per body volume?
I don't know.
Per what? There's no way that a person who is like 6'2", I mean, how tall is he?
5'11".
All right, 5'11". I'm just saying that like a 6'2" teamster probably has more muscle mass than this guy.
Yeah. His nighttime erections, he claims to be better than the average 18-year-olds at 179 minutes of nighttime erections per night. We'll come back to that. He has perfect liver fat, iron, and stiffness.
How do you measure liver stiffness? What do you think is the test for that? And also, what do you think is the perfect amount? They're like, oh, if your liver were any more stiff, it would be too much.
don't know how you measure erection stiffness. Maybe he's got a Fitbit for his liver like he does for his penis, which we'll talk about in a minute. He's in the bottom 0.5% of visceral fat, muscle fat, subcutaneous fat volume. He has possibly increased his thymocyte volume to 7 years younger, pending further testing. I don't know what that is.
I also don't know what that is.
He has perfect liver markers. His ALT plus AST plus GGT is 49. I guess that's good.
I mean, GGT is something they don't even measure when you go to the regular person doctor. I don't even know. The fact that he's giving those numbers summed and one of them includes like a non-standard test, it's like he wants you to not be able to compare your normal peon blood test results to his.
He's had a 31-year age reversal in gray hair age, resulting in an 80% reduction in gray hair. His hair does look weird newly.
So
I think he used to dye it, and now it's no longer gray, so he's not dyeing it, but it's gotten weird.
An 80% age reduction in gray hair. So
80% reduction in gray hair, a 31-year age reversal in gray hair age.
31-year reversal. How many? I'm sorry, he's 44?
He's 46.
Look,
how many 15-year-olds have
how many gray hairs did he have as a teen that he's claiming he's reversed the amount of gray hair he has by 31 years, right? Like is he saying he developed gray hairs in his teens?
Presumably.
And he measured them then. He knows how many he had at that time. Like that sounds like someone who's doing like a linear regression and they just like keep the line going to infinity or something.
In his accomplishments section, he has 30 plus organ ages quantified. He's improved his homocysteine by 4.9%. His C-reactive protein is below the average 18-year-old.
What's his C-reactive protein?
0.15.
Damn.
Pretty good.
Well, it's all that nutty pudding, for sure.
It's going to do it for us. So anyway, there are a few organizations online that claim if you put in your blood work markers that they will calculate your phenotypic age, your epigenetic age, as opposed to your chronological age. So you give them your chronological, you say, I'm 41 as I am, and then you put in your blood markers and then you press calculate and they will tell you what your spiritual age is.
Yeah, my first problem with all of these websites is that they all make you put in they want you to tell them your chronological age, which suggests to me that they cannot possibly
they don't have full confidence
predict.
In what they're doing.
They want to make sure they're somehow testing the result against the age you give them. Because if these numbers if there were truly normal or typical numbers at a given age, your current age would be totally irrelevant to the calculation, but they all require it. You cannot leave it blank. Whatever calculation it's doing fails if you leave that blank.
They all claim that they're backed by research and they provide citations, and it's bogus for sure, but this is the sort of shit that Bryan Johnson uses to calculate like his actual age, I guess. Yeah,
I'm sure he's developed his own algorithm. I don't know why he's not selling access to his weird algorithm.
I think he is.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
why is he bothering to grift? He's rich
already a billionaire.
I don't understand. Why don't you just do your weird stuff?
Grifters be grifting. Anyway, we decided we'd use a calculator that is offered by the organization from which I buy my metformin. Which I'm not diabetic, dear listener. I started taking metformin a few years ago.
To reverse age yourself?
No, because it has demonstrated efficacy against COVID. It was a COVID era introduction into my protocol, and I've kept it up. I take the smallest possible dose of metformin. It may have like other benefits. It has antiviral benefits, I think, but may have other benefits. And this website has one of these calculators. So Allison and I both put in our blood work numbers from, we were interested to see how we've perhaps deteriorated in the era of COVID. So we put in our numbers from 2019 and then our numbers from 2024. We've not yet shared them with each other, but do you want to do that now? Do you want to each do our 2019 numbers and then...
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So how are you doing in the year 2019 in this completely objective way of measuring it?
So in 2019, I was 35.
That was your chronological age.
And the website claims that my phenotypic age at that time was 27.01.
Shit. That's good. That's good as hell. So that's a reduction in what? Or what's the difference in?
6.99 years.
Holy shit. Well, I have more dire results to report to you than that.
How were you doing in 2019?
In 2019, this is prior to COVID, my chronological age at the point at which I took my blood work anyway, was 36 3/4. That's how old I was. And my phenotypic age, according to this calculator, was 38 1/4, 38.29. A difference of 1.53 years. My body is 1.53 years older than...
Yikes.
I know. Yours is so good. I thought yours would be good, but not that good. And now it makes mine seem even worse.
So, but that was 2019.
This was in 2019.
Before you started taking metformin
Before
to
I started
reverse
taking
age.
metformin, and let's be clear, a variety of other weird pills. All right. What about 2024?
All right. In 2024, my chronological age at the time of testing was 39. And my phenotypic age is 29.
Wow. And this is outside the boundaries of this particular calculator, but use a different calculator that also gave you 29. Is that right?
That's correct.
Oh, wow. So it sounds right. It sounds like you're 29. Shit. Wow. You must feel great.
Well, imagine, what if I started reverse aging? How young do you think I could become?
So you're 5 years older now in actual age, but only 2 years older in phenotypic age.
Yeah.
And that age is now 10 years. So you're aging phenotypically, but slower than your actual aging, and the absolute number is much lower.
Yeah.
Right.
But what I need to do is completely reverse time if I want to be like this guy.
Got to reverse time. But at this point, according to this, you're aging at basically half the rate of your actual aging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Here are my 2024 values. So at this point, my chronological age was 41.76. I'm almost 42 now. My phenotypic age was 35.5.
Wow.
So now a difference of negative 6.12 years. And importantly, so I feel great about this, of course. I was worried that if my 2024 result was also higher than my chronological age, that I might be tipped over into health anxiety again. So I don't know why I tempted fate in this way. But I did, and I've come out on top. My phenotypic age is 35.5. So whatever pills I'm taking, that's got to be it. That's got to be what's doing it. I'll also point out that my phenotypic age in 2019 was 38.29. And my phenotypic age here in 2024 is 35.64. So I am reverse aging. I've defeated the very concept of aging.
Wow, it's that metformin.
Yeah. Allison's tempted.
If I start taking metformin, how young do you think I can get?
12.
By next year?
You can be 12. I don't assign any credibility to these, but I will let it make me feel good.
But if it can make you feel good, it can also make you feel bad.
Well, that's why I got to never take it again in case the results are poor in the future. Now I can just live on this feeling. So that's a blood calculator, but what if you wanted to know, Allison, the age of your penis?
Well, I already know how he does this.
Well, he does. He has. Do you know all the ways he does it?
I probably don't know all the ways. He became really focused on de-aging his penis in the last little, like we've been vaguely following this guy, you more than me, for years now. And he used to be really focused on sort of overall health markers. Then he went through a weird period where he was doing a lot of like cosmetic dermatology and cosmetic stuff and considering that to be part of his de-aging process. And then it seems like most recently he's gotten obsessed with his penis, which I assume he must have had like some mild erectile dysfunction or something. And he got really like freaked out about that or I don't know. He has something going on psychologically with his penis where he's like, he needs it to be different than how it is, I guess.
So he measures what appears to be most important to him is the duration of erections that he experiences during sleep overnight. Like, I guess, according to the literature, younger men have more frequent and of greater duration erections over the course of sleep, like especially during REM cycles. And
that's something you've also been pursuing because you believe it prevents you from needing to pee in the night.
No, you're misunderstanding me. So there's something I cut earlier because I felt accused by it in a way that I didn't like. But you know what? I will go into this one. So here's my situation. I feel like, all men of all ages, unless you have circulation problems as you age or something, you get boners during night, especially during REM cycles, right? And I am awoken during these more often than I would like to be. And I believe the issue is...
your boner's so awesome that it wakes you up.
No, because I sleep on my stomach a lot. And I feel like that it becomes more uncomfortable than it would otherwise be if I was sleeping on my back or on my side. And then, so I'm up, and then the boner won't go away until I pee. I have to pee for it to go away. So I have to go and try to pee through my erection, and then it can go away, and then I can get back to sleep. So,
because you have in the past claimed that nighttime boners are what hold in your pee.
I've never claimed this.
I feel pretty certain you have told me
that's never made this claim. What I've said is that if you have an erection, it is difficult to pee.
Well, everyone knows that.
Yes, that's the only claim I've made. So what's hard is when I get up at night that I'm like bleary-eyed, I go into the bathroom, but I still have that boner. Then I have to like get the pee out still.
So you just need a body pillow to prop you up so you can get erections in the night?
Maybe. Or I have to sleep in a different position. But anyway, I find this to be aggravating. He wears a Fitbit type item around his penis while he sleeps to take measurements.
And it's got sort of like a blood pressure cuff.
Yeah, it's like a cuff
situation.
Right.
So it can measure how big the erection is getting and how long it is staying.
So I think he does two major things to his penis. And I think you know about the second one, but I'm not sure if you know about the first one, which was from 2020. It was from mid-2023. He was talking about that. So he does shockwave therapy on his penis.
I don't exactly know what that even means. Like sonication?
So he does 3 times per week focused shockwave therapy. I can tell you this. So the machine, it's a Storz medical machine. The settings are 0.3 millijoules per mm2. I don't know what that means. Millimeters squared. 4,000 shocks per treatment at 4 hertz, 48 joules. At that point, he claimed that this procedure gave him an erectile function of 100%, according to the International Index of Erectile Function, the IIEF.
Is this what the UN has been working on? Is this the kind of thing?
Well, that's why the world's falling apart, is because this has been their main focus. So at this point in 2023, using these penis rejuvenation techniques, at his current age, he was getting 2 hours and 12 minutes of nighttime erections. The goal would be what 18-year-olds get, which is 3 hours and 30 minutes of nighttime erections. So that's what he's working towards.
Why can't he just take Viagra? Would that not accomplish the same thing?
I mean, first of all, then you have to get a boner.
Well, that's what he wants to get several hours of boners every day.
Do you think he should take Viagra right before going to bed?
I do.
No, I mean, I think he wants, it's what he would say is he wants a reflection of his cardiovascular health in the quality of his erections.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when your like cholesterol's a little high, your doctor will be like, we should measure how many hours of erections you get. That'll be the best way to know what the likelihood of you're having a coronary event might be.
So he was doing pretty well at that point. I mean, I don't know how many hours of erections I have at night. I just know that they're annoying.
So you would like to stop getting them?
Yes.
So you want to forward age your penis?
If I could reverse age the rest of my body but forward age my penis, that would be ideal. Yeah. All right. So fast forward here to early 2024. Here's a tweet from January of this year. I inject Botox into my penis. It increases his penile length by 1 centimeter.
By paralyzing the muscle that right? There's like some sort of soft tissue that would typically be contracting. And so by paralyzing it, the penis gets a little longer. Like that's what a lot of penis lengthening surgeries and stuff are, right? Like they cut ligaments and stuff so that you're
1 centimeter is so little in terms of increase that I bet if you inject just any stuff into your penis, you might get 1 centimeter more of length. Just any stuff. You can inject some jelly in there. You can, like, I don't understand why it needs to be Botox to get 1 cent. Put a silicone, right? People get penile implants to get, it's just stuff. There's just stuff in your penis that's not usually there.
Why would partially paralyzing your penis make it younger? He wants it to be bigger, but he's claiming that somehow.
Well, I don't think he's just noting that it's bigger. What he is measuring, what the metrics are that are important to him are as follows. So it also improves erection hardness. Number 1. Number 2, I don't know what this means. Peak systolic velocity. Number 3, end diastolic velocity. And 4th, sexual health satisfaction, which is, of course, subjective. But I don't understand what the systolic velocity of your penis is.
I mean, he's saying it improves the blood pressure.
Yeah,
he's saying it improves the blood pressure in his penis.
Here's the process. A tourniquet is applied at the base of the penis.
Okay, great. Sounds good so far. Yeah.
The treatment dose, 100 units of the botulism and 2 milliliters of saline, was distributed along 4 points, right and left distal and proximal shaft using a 23-gauge insulin syringe.
How much Botox do they inject when they inject it in your face? How many units?
Question.
Like, is this a lot of units or a little?
I guess look that up. The solution was injected into 4 different injection sites, 1 inch proximal to corona and 1 inch distal to pubopenile junction at right and left cavernosa, respectively. Following injection, a fine massage was applied to injection sites for 5 minutes, and the band was removed after 20 minutes. Sounds like a really circuitous way to get someone to give your penis a massage for 5 minutes.
Oh, I think that's actually a lot of units of Botox. So I'm looking at a little table on a dermatologist's website saying what is a normal amount of Botox.
Mm-hmm.
Crow's feet, 5 to 15 units. Eyebrow lift, 2 to 5 units.
This is 100 units.
Yeah, so this is a pretty big dose of Botox that he's injecting into his penis. It's a more Botox than would be injected into like your whole face if you were doing a bunch of different Botox things.
They're like responses to this tweet, like, if I need a couple more inches, how much Botox do I got to put in there? Do you recommend Botox treatment to achieve a smoother, more youthful scrotum?
Oh, wait, that's a question. He's got like an FAQ page about this?
No, that's someone asking on his Twitter feed. He didn't respond to that one, but probably would do the trick, you'd think.
I don't think that is how Botox works.
The thing is that his penile function, according to that international consortium of penile experts, was already optimal after the shockwave therapy, before this stabbing your penis at 4 places with Botox to get 1 centimeter of length improvement. His penile function remains optimal. He's now citing 2 different organizations. There's the IIEF. He's optimal in 25 out of 25 metrics. There's also the EHS, which he does not. I don't know what that acronym is, but I guess it's another organization that sets penile standards. He's maxing that out as well. And it looks like he has now achieved his goal of 3 hours and 30 minutes of nighttime erections. So all it takes to achieve the ultimate end goal of having 3 hours and 30 minutes of nighttime erections is both shockwave therapy and injecting Botox into your penis.
Does he say what the longest erection he gets per night is?
No.
I want to know the duration.
Yeah, I don't. As a single erection?
Yeah.
Because, of course, on the commercials, it'll be like, if you have an erection longer than
4
X
hours,
amount of time, go see a doctor. Yeah.
But, this is cumulative over each sleep cycle. But I'm just curious to know, how long do these
Yeah, I don't know that
last?
he's detailed that. Do you think that the fine massage was strictly necessary?
I don't know. When you get Botox injected, they might like rub your face or
Try to
something
get it evenly distributed. Yeah.
So Bryan Johnson's website advertises something called Rejuvenation Olympics. So I clicked on it, and it appears to be a social media site where you input your medical information and it tells you and it ranks you in percent improvement over your chronological age, and it shows a public leaderboard.
Wow, what an enticing way to give a stranger all of your medical information.
And
so does that let you use their algorithm, Bryan Johnson's algorithm?
I believe so. So it says the About Us. Rejuvenation Olympics was conceived by Bryan Johnson and Oliver Zolman, MD, in order to have a public forum to share protocols and validated results for age rejuvenation. So the main page, when you go to Rejuvenation Olympics, shows you a table of people.
Is he himself on it?
Well, so you don't have to make your name public. So let me just tell you who's on this list. Number 1 is Anonymous. Number 2 is Pedro Rossello.
What's his situation?
Chronological age 79%, improved from baseline 27.97%.
Okay.
I wish it expressed that in years, in its made up units of years. But
so it's basically he's 60 instead of 80 or something?
I guess. Private participant, and then someone's Twitter handle.
Well, this sounds official.
Lil Esky. David Pasco. Okay, Bryan Johnson himself is number 7. He's ranked number 7 on his social media site.
All right.
Julie Gibson
Well, he's not
Clark.
gaming the system anyway, then.
private participant.
But I mean, he's spending like $1 billion doing this, and some fucking dude is, I don't know, he's probably doesn't have stuff attached to his penis, and he's still...
So chronological age of the number 3 person, private participant, is 15. And he's reduced his chronological age by 22%. So is this Bryan Johnson's
so he's like
kid?
12?
Because
yeah, maybe.
Because he's very public that he makes his kid also follow this diet and whatnot.
Yeah.
So like what other 15-year-olds are
feeling
being
good that
allowed to do this?
It's funny because like every 15-year-old wants to be 20, right? Not the idea that you run your numbers and actually you're 12 seems like it'd be a disappointment.
There's also a 19-year-old on this leaderboard who's listed as private participant. So these are 2 people who are already very young. I have to assume that for people at the extremes of the range, the very young and the very old, these measures become less and less reliable, right? Yeah. So a bunch of people are called private participant, about half the people on the list. And then number 20 is Richard B. Johnson, who is, I assume, Bryan Johnson's father. So he's got, I think it must be his father and his son are on this top 20 leaderboard.
How's his father doing?
He's chronologically 70, and his percent improvement is 10.87.
Okay. I mean, it's pretty substantial. Your percent improvement, I mean, this isn't Bryan Johnson's algorithm, but yeah,
I would be number 1.
Yeah. Maybe you should try to get on there. See what they'd measure you at. The funniest fucking thing is going to be when this guy dies when he's like 77. Like,
just the expected age.
Expected age, yeah. Like, I don't think he'll die early from this weird shit, but I also don't think he'll live forever. I think he'll die at a comically average age.
Yeah, I mean, I would like him to die early of a stupid and unrelated reason.
Car accident, yeah. He's also like really, I mentioned, he's rigorous. So he stops eating in like the early afternoon. And then I think he goes to bed at like 8 o'clock, which I love.
Yeah.
Another thing I admire about this guy.
You would like his lifestyle quite a bit.
Yeah. His other food is maybe less disgusting. We picked the most disgusting, according to you, food that he eats. He eats basically all his food is in hummus form, right? He just like blends up a bunch of vegetables. Is he completely vegan or is he
I think other than maybe fish oil, he might be
yeah.
on a vegan diet.
Like he's generally got the right idea when it comes to like eating and stuff. He's not one of those, like, he's not like a keto grifter that's like, you need to eat, you know, a bunch of bacon and butter and that will make you healthy. Like he's eating basically like legumes and vegetables and fruits in high density, like you should. He's just doing it in the weirdest, most rigorous way.
Okay, I've found his dinner time. 11 a.m.
Okay.
That's when he eats what he refers to as dinner.
And he goes to bed at 8 or something. Are you looking at like his day plan?
Oh, maybe we should get you one of these. He has some sort of cooling pad that he sets on his mattress to keep his body cold without making his partner experience cold air conditioning.
Interesting.
I'm trying to find his sleep routine because I thought at some point he had a whole thing that was like, this is what my day's like, but I'm having trouble finding it.
Oh, wow. I found the page on his site where he really gets into the nitty gritty about, like, he has sections for the health of every part of his body, his ear health, you know, the frequency range he can hear, the cochlear magnetic resonance markers that he has, his eye health, his drusen volume, eyelash length. His eyelash length, unfortunately, he has the eyelash length of a person of the age 70. So he's not just publishing the stuff where he's like 20 years younger.
Eyelash length is genetic. People have some people have long eyelashes and some people have short eyelashes. Your eyelashes...
He's got to rejuvenate his eyelash length because right now he's 70, according to his eyelashes. So this is like, I think, useful information for all of us. he had COVID once. He had a mild case of COVID where he just had cold symptoms for a few days. You know, he'd had no complications from it, but his lung measurements to this day afterwards took an enormous hit. Like he has aged lungs, which he himself attributes to his COVID infection. I guess he measured it right before and right after.
I did want to mention one frustration I experienced while preparing the Nutty pudding.
Yeah.
Which is that he really freely mixes and matches units of measurement. So like I would do this by weight, right? I would do it by grams of walnuts or whatever for everything, because that's the best way to reproducibly make the same thing. Like everyone knows this, right?
Sure.
But the recipe, including 1/4 of a Brazil nut, 50 to 100 milliliters of macadamia nut milk, 3 tablespoons ground macadamia nuts. Well, how finely they're ground will absolutely affect their volume.
Yeah. Gonna need a mass measurement on that.
2 ounces of pomegranate juice, bafflingly. Why is that in ounces and macadamia nut milk is in milliliters?
Yeah.
6 grams of cocoa, half a teaspoon of cinnamon. It's just all over the place.
Yeah.
He uses every possible unit of measurement, has done nothing to standardize it, which again, I think really puts the lie to the idea that this is in any way scientific. Like he doesn't actually have a reproducible recipe here.
I'll link to all this stuff and his website that we've talked about. Possibly anyone who's listening to this might also be interested enough in this guy to already know all this stuff. But well, before we go, I did want to at least read the list of supplements that he takes. It is lengthy. Part of the reason that I want to read it is so that Allison internally thinks that the list of supplements I take is not egregious. All right, ready?
Well, I'm picturing like a Howard Hughes like situation with this guy eventually.
Well, he definitely has jars of his urine. How could he not?
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think comparison to this guy is the flex you want it to be.
This is the standard amount of supplements that a healthy person takes. So the fact that I take many fewer should show you that I'm really quite restrained. Upon waking, he takes 200 milligrams acarbose, which is a prescription. He takes 600 milligrams ashwagandha, 12 milligrams astaxanthin, a B complex pill, 2 milligrams of boron, 17.5 milligrams of broccoli extract, 500 milligrams vitamin C, 1 gram of calcium AKG, I don't know what that is, 500 milligrams of cocoa flavonoids, 100 milligrams of CoQ10, 2,000 IUs of vitamin D3, 25 milligrams of DHEA, 67 milligrams of vitamin E, 800 milligrams of an EPA, DHA, DPA supplement, 200 milligrams Fisetin, 2.5...
Fisetin?
It's like a, similar to quercetin, I think, in the same sort of foods. 2.4 grams of garlic, 1.2 grams of aged garlic, 125 milligrams of genistein, 1.1 grams of ginger root, 1,500 milligrams of glucosamine sulfate, 125 micrograms of iodine as potassium iodide, 5 milligrams of vitamin K2, 1.5 milligrams of vitamin K1, 600 micrograms of a different form of vitamin K2, 1 milligram lithium, 10 milligrams lycopene, 1 gram lysine, 1,500 milligrams of metformin, 375 milligrams of nicotinamide riboside. I don't know how to pronounce this.
Yeah, nicotinamide riboside is how I would say it, probably.
1,800 milligrams of N-acetyl L-cysteine, 10 milligrams of proferrin, 10 milligrams of spermidine, 1 gram of turmeric, 2 grams of taurine, 1 pill of Viviscal. I don't know what that is.
That is a hair
thing.
Growth supplement, hair loss prevention supplement. I clicked on it earlier because I was trying to understand what he was recommending.
20 milligrams of lutein, 4 milligrams zeaxanthin, and 15 milligrams of zinc. That's upon waking each day. You know how upon waking, when we get up and like I take my thyroid medicine and you take your stuff, a couple pills. This is upon waking.
How many times a day does he take more pills?
3 additional times of the day.
Yeah, well, seems reasonable and even modest so far. We can probably extrapolate.
You can extrapolate the rest of this. He drinks a lot of his own special brand. This is what he's hawking. His own special extra virgin olive oil. He drinks that a bunch during the day, takes some more metformin. He takes thyroid medicine too, takes transdermal 17-alpha/E2. Is that the estrogen you were saying that he was taking?
Yeah.
Okay, he takes supplemental transdermal estrogen for awesomeness.
There is a study showing that in male mice who are given this form of estrogen, there's an increased lifespan of something like 15 or 20%. And
I'm sure that translates.
The benefit does not accrue to female mice given the same estrogen, and it does not to male, like sterilized mice. So you have to have testicles.
So it's a testosterone estrogen balance that you're
I mean, the mechanism's unknown. It is, you need there's some sort of gonadal steroid hormone interaction with this that is for some reason causing these mice to live a long time. You haven't even gotten into his gene editing that he's been doing on himself.
Yeah, I guess I haven't.
Which seems notable to me. He has used a sort of, I guess, plasmid type construct called a mini circle.
Okay.
To increase his gene expression of follistatin.
Okay.
This therapy ranks 7th among lifespan studies, extending mouse lifespan by 30%.
He's really putting a lot of stake in mouse studies, which are like famously don't translate to people.
Yeah, he's got a little like bar chart where he shows his follistatin protein levels before and after. There's a big arrow that says gene therapy injection, September 10th, 2023. And it shows his levels of follistatin going from 7.5 to 19.5 nanograms per mil.
Do you think this guy feels great?
I bet he does, actually, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he spends all day resting, exercising, and being served food.
He's gotten extremely pale recently.
Well, that's because of all the
Have you seen
the dermatological.
This is not a misrepresentation of his paleness currently.
Well, he's had all signs of aging removed. Like he's been having, like, I think he listed a bunch of dermatology stuff he had done that's like things people do to remove dark spots. So it seems like he's been having the melanin essentially stripped from his entire body by a process that you would normally use to like lighten an age spot or a freckle or something you don't like. He's been doing it like his whole body.
Liberally.
Yeah.
Use that all over. Do you think he does mewing?
No, because I do think he's interested in there being at least some scientific basis for these things.
I would love it if someone publicly asked him about mewing and bone smashing. He reject those because you look older. Those. Bone smashing is you're sustaining damage in order to
remind the listener what bone smashing
so incels,
quote unquote is.
Incels do. So mewing is in the zeitgeist now because, like, I guess middle school and high school kids do mewing, like even non-incels. It's like emerged from incel culture. It's like the chewing reel. You bite and chew hard shit to make your jawline more pronounced or something. But bone smashing is when you hit yourself in the face real hard strategically so that your body builds back up, I guess, bone, or it purports to be bone.
Yeah,
but
that's right. The idea is
scar
that
tissue
you get
too,
more
but
bone density from impact.
bashing yourself. Yeah, you have to do it strategically so you get like good chin and cheekbones. But yeah, I don't think he'd be into that. He wants to look like an elven boy.
Well, I think he wants to look like the person in the goo pool.
I mean, a vampire. What if before we go, here's my thought to leave on this note. I'm going to show you my penis. I want you to clear your mind. And I want you to just take a look. It's going to be flaccid. So you take a look, as though you didn't know me. I mean, we're spouses. You've presumably seen my penis before, but try to pretend you haven't. Just take a look and eyeball it for like 5 or 10 seconds and tell me how old. Tell me how old you think the guy who has this penis is. All right.
Okay.
All right. Hang on.
I'll try.
I'll tell you when to open your eyes. Go.
$57.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Well, I did say that I wanted an older penis, just a younger everything else. All right. Bye.
It's city business. It's city business.